Rediscovering Gita for the Modern World by Shrikant Soman. Based on Essays on Gita by Sri Aurobindo. Chapter 10 continued. Yoga of the Intelligent Will. Continued from the previous episode 77, The Upward Path Reversing the Flow of Consciousness. Current episode 78. The Path to Samadhi, Beyond Discipline to Divine Union. The Yoga of Surrender, the Secret to True Self-Control. Samadhi, the inner state of desireless tranquility. Key takeaways. The challenge of self-control. Even wise individuals struggle with self-control because the mind naturally becomes attached to external objects, leading to desire, passion, and ultimately, a loss of inner peace and true identity. Beyond mental discipline, perfect self-control cannot be achieved by mere willpower or intellectual effort alone. It requires yoga, a connection with something higher than oneself, specifically by dedicating one's entire being to the divine. The power of devotion. The key to this yoga is the phrase Yukt Asita Matpara, firmly fixed in yoga, wholly devoted to me, which points to the need for a total surrender to the divine within. The state of tranquility, Atma Prasada. By achieving this inner connection, a person can interact with the world without being affected by desires or their dualities of liking and disliking. This leads to a state of calm, peace and happy tranquility, which destroys suffering. Samadhi as inner poise. Samadhi is not defined as a trance or a loss of consciousness. Its true sign is the complete expulsion of all desires and the mind's ability to remain inwardly focused on the divine, even while engaged in worldly activities. A liberated soul's primary characteristic is inner equality and balance. Self-discipline and self-control are never easy. All intelligent people know they need some form of self-control, and the advice to control one's senses is very common. However, this advice is usually given and followed in a limited and incomplete way. Even a wise person who works hard to master themselves can find themselves overwhelmed and swept away by their senses. This happens because the mind naturally supports the senses. It observes objects with an inner interest, focuses on them, and makes them the subject of deep thought and strong interest for the will. This attachment leads to desire. When that desire is unfulfilled or blocked, it causes distress, passion, and anger. This passion, in turn, clouds the soul, making the intelligence and will forget their true nature, which is to remain calm and observant. This lapse causes a person to lose memory of their true self, and their intelligent will becomes obscured or even destroyed. For a time, the intelligent will ceases to exist in our self-awareness. It disappears in a cloud of passion, and we become that passion, anger, or grief, instead of being our true self, intelligence and will. To prevent this, all the senses must be brought under complete control. Only by achieving absolute control over the senses can a wise and calm intelligence be firmly established in its proper place. You cannot achieve this perfectly with just your intelligence, or by simply using mental self-discipline. It can only be done through yoga, a connection with something higher than yourself, something in which calm and self-mastery are natural. This yoga succeeds only by completely dedicating your entire being to the divine, or, as Krishna says, to me. The liberator is within us, but it's not our mind, intelligence or personal will. Those are only instruments. The true liberator is the Lord, in whom we must ultimately take complete refuge. To do this, we must first make Him the focus of our entire being, and stay in contact with Him in our soul. This is what the phrase Yukt Asita Matparha means. One must sit firm in yoga, wholly devoted to me. For now, this is just a quick hint from the Gita, 3 words that contain the entire seed of the highest secret that will be revealed later. If you do this, it becomes possible to move among the objects of the senses, interacting with them, but with the senses completely under the control of the inner self. The self, in turn, is obedient to the highest self, the Purusha. Then, because the senses are free from reactions, they will be delivered from the influences of liking and disliking, escaping the duality of positive and negative desire. A feeling of calm, peace, clarity and happy tranquility, Atma Prasada, will settle upon you. This clear tranquility is the source of the soul's joy. All grief begins to lose its power to affect the tranquil soul. Your intelligence is quickly established in the peace of the self, and suffering is destroyed. The Gita gives the state of calm, desireless and griefless focus of the buddhi, intelligent will, the name Samadhi. The true sign of a person in Samadhi isn't that they lose all awareness of their surroundings and can't be roused even by pain. That's a common but incorrect idea. Trance is a specific, intense state, not the defining characteristic. The real test is the complete expulsion of all desires and their inability to influence the mind. It's an inner state where the soul is gathered within itself, with the mind calm and poised high above the push and pull of external life's ups and downs. Even when a person in this state is acting outwardly, their mind is drawn inward and concentrated on the self. To an outsider, they may seem busy with worldly matters, but inwardly, they are completely focused on the divine. Arjuna, representing the average person, asks for some clear physical sign of this state. How does such a person speak, sit or walk? The teacher doesn't give such signs, because the only real test is an inner one. The most important sign of a liberated soul is equality and inner balance.